Hello, everyone. I think we have about 27 to 30 folks already joining in. I'm going to assume that if we wait another few more minutes, more people will join in. So let's give a minute and then we get started. We expect this webinar to be about 45 minutes. It'll be a little bit of a monologue, not a monologue. Three of us will present. Essentially, it's a collection of wisdom, as I had mentioned in my WhatsApp message. I would say that maybe 300, very conservatively, 300 half marathons and maybe 100 full marathon worth of experience has, the juice of all that experience have been collected, and we have put it on that deck that we are going to share with you, and we'll also share it post this meeting. Those of you who have seen this before, still, as I said, it's always good to, again, refresh yourself. I'm sure there's always few things you might forget. And it's a good thing to step back, think about the next 1-2 weeks, how to think about it, how to plan for it, and just execute. That's how it's going to be. Okay. And someone raised their hands. Whoever wants to raise hands, please, feel free to ping on the chat window, and one of us will 100% answer the question. Okay. So with that, I'm assuming that I have added all the coaches. Nobody is waiting. I see Manoj there. I'm going to add him too. But I hope nobody else is waiting from a coach standpoint. I think everybody is in. So let's get started, guys. Welcome. Welcome.
Mo is waiting.
Sorry, somebody said something.
Mo is waiting.
Mo is waiting. Okay, 1 second, folks. Let me just get Coach Mo in as well as a panelist, so that you all can see him and interact with him. Okay, so folks, welcome to Season X Race Day Strategy Meeting. And as with anything Runners Eye, we always follow a tradition that has been built over multiple seasons. And the State of the Union, if you remember, I told you that there was a reason why we had State of the Union. The State of the Union was initially started off as a way to motivate kids in the middle of the season, and then celebrate their successes at the end of the season. So we had an interim and we had a final State of the Union. This thing continued, and it has evolved into better and more fun thing. And we don't intend to stop that. It'll continue. Likewise, we also used to have a pre-race day party. Not a party really. It's more like a carb load kind of a party, when all of us were just face-to-face coaching only used to happen. So we used to have one of the runners host a party, and all the runners used to come. And I used to be there, and one or two few fellow coaches used to be there. I remember those early days, Coach Mo used to do some yoga as well, if I'm not mistaken, just to sort of get people enthusiastic about the race day. And then we talk about what you need to do. We'll eat a lot of carb, and I would actually present it live and inspire them, try to inspire them, motivate them for tomorrow. And I would see that a lot of them at those times are first-time half marathoners. So there was a lot of anxiety in the room. So everyone wanted to come and sort of feel the anxiety and excitement, and they felt good about themselves. And that's how it started. And we thought that it is a fantastic thing to do. And so we always have continued it. So it's a 45-minute to 50-minute session where our objective is, let us step back, identify where we are in this journey and what have we done already, and specifically talk about what you need to do from now to the race day, and maybe even a little bit beyond race day, and then talk about next steps beyond the race day. So that's really what this presentation is going to be. So without much further ado, let me share my screen. We have, as always, we have put together a presentation to share our thoughts. So can one of you let me know if you can see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Wonderful. So let's start the presentation, folks. First of all, T-shirt. Hopefully you guys are seeing this new Season X T-shirt. Beautiful T-shirt. I know I'm merging with the background a little bit, but that's totally fine. But this is a new T-shirt that I'm proudly wearing, Season X. I hope all of you will get your hands on it. Trust me, guys, it's absolutely beautiful. The color, I know the video is not doing full justice to it, It's an absolutely a beautiful t-shirt in terms of design as well as the color. Somebody's calling me once again. So just want to let you know, I'm with the Season X colors already. With that mindset, I'm already there today. Right through the season, 3 pillars: commitment, resilience, and having fun. That's all you guys have done. That's why you are here. You're here because you have adhered to these 3 pillars. And I hope that you'll continue to do this season after season. Why only running? Generally in life, if you can follow these 3, I think whatever you do, you'll have a lot of fun. Before we do, it's always, again, another RHWB tradition to first thank our gurus here, or our coaches. Absolutely brilliant 16 coaches of the season who have worked hard and who have been dedicated to your success. They've been resilient to your questions, and they've had a lot of fun coaching you. And without their support, we won't be here. So coaches, on behalf of the entire Runners High, thank you guys. Thank you. Absolutely incredible job. I know you all are equally excited to see how your runners are going to perform during the race day, so that you guys can get your coaches high as opposed to just runners high. And of course, heroes behind the scenes, we have to remember and recognize our fantastic tech team, our operations team. As you can see, Mona, Renu, working hard behind the scenes for getting your t-shirts. You have Anjali, Sudarshana, finance, and then we have Rekha doing such a great job in our Instagram handle to capture the essence of what Runners High is all about. So those of you who have not following our Instagram handle, please do so. We'll send the links later. And of course, tech team, Arvind, Sapna, Ramanpreet, Suren, Akansh, and we have a new member, Tanisha, as well, along with Aparna. So it's a great team, guys. We are having a lot of fun. So as I said, success is a journey. It's not a destination. So it takes for us to walk through a certain path to reach where we have to reach. And from that measure, we've always said in our Runners High, the journey is the destination. So the 16 weeks of training is the destination. And if you think about it, most of you have completed your peak meso and you have started your taper. Or in other words, you already reached your destination. Now, what happens in the next 1 week or 2 weeks, as the case may be, it is just another day. Irrespective of what happens, your training is not going anywhere. The cardiovascular strength that you have developed over many seasons is not many weeks, or even seasons for that matter, is not going anywhere. You guys are already on a path to phenomenal success. Congratulations, folks. Thanks for doing it. Thanks for motivating us with your dedication. This is always a great time. Every season we do this. A beautiful verse from Bhagavad Gita, which essentially captures the essence of our mindset that we should be. And let me play this a little bit. I hope you guys can hear this.
Karmanyevadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phalaheturbhu ma te sangotva karmani.
Absolutely incredible verse. And what it says, it essentially comes down to 3 beautiful messages. 1, not attached to outcome. Do your duty, follow the process. Don't just get too attached to the outcome. If you follow the process, results will follow automatically. You work hard, but you have the right to work hard, as they say, but you do not have the right for the best results. Anything can happen. Unfortunately, that's the nature of the game we play. Yeah, just because you worked really well for 16 weeks doesn't mean your PR is guaranteed. Nothing is guaranteed in a marathon world. As we all know, all senior runners will attest. All the coaches here would attest to what I'm just saying. Nothing is guaranteed. Okay, what is guaranteed is 16 weeks of brilliant training you have done. That is what is guaranteed, the effect of that. Okay, so keep that in mind. Definitely, when you cross that finish line, have the grace to share your achievement with others. It's not just you. Hundreds of people have helped you to get there. So it's incumbent on you to ensure that you share that success, share that happiness with your friends, family, coaches, you name it. Your dog who has run with you all the time, someone who gave you water, your kids who waited for you to come back and come back from a long run and allowed you to do that as opposed to maybe take them out for an ice cream. Every small bit of help that everyone around you, they had to do so that you can cross that finish line. So you got to share that fruits of your actions with everybody. And finally, don't be attached to inaction. Something is better than nothing. And that's what we all have done. If you see our coaches, they'll always tell you that, okay, you couldn't finish 15 miles, it's okay, but at least you did 9 miles when it's a long run, because something is always better than nothing. That's the 3 fundamental lessons, folks, when you look back in the season that has happened with all of you. Now, let me ask you, how are you feeling? Are you on the left or are you on the right? Let's be real. Go to the chat window and let me know. A is for anxious, E is for excited. I want to see how you guys are feeling. Type away. Let's see how it is. Nice. Double E, A, B. What's B there? Oh my God, lot of E's, Manoj is talking E. You better be excited, buddy. And oh my God, Roshana, I love it. Lot of excitement. That's exactly how it should be. For those of you who are anxious and excited or just anxious, you're not alone, okay? Being anxious in front of a big race is normal. In fact, I can tell you, even when those of you like maybe a coach, let's say a Sharik who has done 10 full marathons, let me pose a question, Sharik. Say in your many full marathons, you've done phenomenal Boston qualification runs. Have you had any experience where you couldn't sleep the previous night because you were too anxious?
Almost always.
See that? See that? See that? Coach
I
Suja.
try melatonin, but almost doesn't work all the time.
There you go. Coach Suja, what's your, have you been anxious or excited in the previous, let's say, day before the race?
I think it's a mixture of both, I would say.
Yeah. It happens. YFC, it's just a quick 2 sample set, right? And I can tell you myself, definitely I've been anxious. In fact, I can say like Sharik, for some reason, I've never slept the night of full marathon. I don't know why. I try more to sleep and I cannot sleep, whatever I try. So most of the times I've done full marathon with 1 hour sleep or 2 hours sleep. I'm excited, as Suja says, but I'm also anxious and hence I can't sleep. But what I'm saying is it's a normal feeling, folks. It's a big deal you've signed up for. So your body is reacting to that because you respect it, because you want it so desperately. If you didn't care, you won't have any anxiety because it means so much to you. You're feeling anxious. So even if you're excited or if you're anxious, it's normal. Okay, keep that in mind. And when you double click on this emotion, anxious and excitement, this is how you will all feel. Whether it's anxious or whether it's excitement, the outcome is the same. HR will be up, adrenaline rush will be there, sweaty hands, decreased pain sensation, butterflies in the stomach. All these things will be normal either side of the sort of the spectrum. It's the same. And when you like think about it like a double click on how this anxious to excitement thought process happens, let's talk about like 3 sensations when it is knowledge based. That means you know what you're getting into. That's why you're anxious. And you can also anticipate the good and the bad that might happen in a race because you have the knowledge. Ignorance is not bliss here, right? So there is that 3 emotions that happens. Now, when you look at the same feeling through the lens of positive intent, you really look forward to it. You're waiting for the race start. You can't wait for it to start and there's an anticipation. You need it. You want it. That feeling is there when you are in the positive frame of mind. And then when you are in the negative frame of mind, obviously, I don't have to tell you, you are dreading it. You don't need it. You are anxious. The combination of all these 3, the excitement lies somewhere in the middle. When you need it, when you anticipate it, when you're anxious, all of this comes together. That's when excitement happens. So keep that in mind, folks. When you open it up, all your emotions into all these different strains, this is where excitement resides. And there is a fine line between excitement and being anxious, and it's totally fine. That's really the message I want to give you. At the end of the day, you guys are shooting for the top 1% of the human race, no less. You guys are going to be heroes out of like among your friends, among your family, among your kids, wife, husband, you guys are going to be heroes. Every one of us, when they cross that finish line, we feel like heroes, because we have earned it, we have worked hard. It doesn't matter whether we hit a PR or not, it doesn't matter. We feel awesome because you trained on it and you've already won because you're here. Keep that in mind. So that's what I wanted to say, guys. This is not the end. It is literally just the beginning. We are just about getting started in this beautiful life filled with running, friends, amazing human beings, and whatnot, parties and whatnot. So keep calm. It's a race day is coming, and it's time for you to have fun. So I want to leave you with just thought every time I want to leave you. So as you approach the race, there are two ways of controlling your emotions and energy. You will see that when you go to a New York City marathon or any of those big marathons, you will see a group of people who are like jumping and shouting and hooting and, like dancing, music is going on. That's one way of like sort of controlled energy or releasing their nervous energy. The other way is what this picture is showing, like Buddha, calm, inwards, keeping the energy to yourself because you have a big job in front of you. You're not wasting too much energy when it is not required. And you're ready to slowly and languidly release the energy that you have right through the distance of the race day. That is what we want you to be on. So when you look at these two pictures, the one on the left is this smooth, languid flow of water, conversion of potential energy to kinetic energy. Going from the Himalayan starting point to the maybe Bay of Bengal, the river keeps flowing, never stops. It keeps growing. The energy is slowly being released, but it never stops. And it just keeps going for weeks and reaches the destination. While on the other side, you have the same release of energy of forest fire, where it just blows through. It bursts of energy, but it cannot sustain for too long. It just finishes off all the fuel really quick. Our goal is to be that Buddha and flow languidly through the race day prep. And before you know, you are at the finish line, having that proud smile and knowing that you've done something kick ass. That's really what we are looking for. Okay, that's how our runners by runners finish races. So with that thought process, I want to invite Coach Sharik. So Coach, why don't you walk us through on how do we do this languid preparation before the race, maybe a day before the race, during the race? How do we think about all of this? Go
Absolutely. Ahead. Absolutely. So if you go to the next slide, we're going to divide our journey in a few phases. The very first phase is a week before the race day. Now, there are three key things I want you all to focus on. The first and foremost is hydration. That week before the race, you're focusing on making sure you're hydrating well. You may take a none every day. Do not take any alcohol. Remember, the idea is not to get dehydrated. So that's the key thing, right? The second thing I want you to focus on during that week, start preparing, start reviewing what the course will look like. And for those of you who will be traveling for the race, start finalizing those plans. Hopefully a week before, you're not waking up and finalizing your travel. But let's say you live in West Windsor and you're going to be running Philly Marathon, right? Which is still an hour away, or New York City Marathon, right? Or any race in Central Park. So that's the travel plan that you may start firming up, right? The third and the foremost thing, right, which is sleep well. So we talk about all the anxiety, we talk about all the excitement, the night before you may not be able to sleep, but you know what, a week before, start cutting down on parties, right? Start having your meals early and start having a good night's sleep. Invest as much time as you can in the sleep, and that will also take care of any niggles, any injuries that you're carrying, right? The first and foremost principle is rest. If we can move to the next slide, Coach Bala. So you spend the week, now it's the evening before the race. What are you going to do? The first and foremost thing you should do, and this is really, you should probably do 2 days before the race, is check the weather, right? It's checking the weather will determine the rest of the stuff. If it's going to rain, you're going to choose a different gear. If it's going to be extremely hot and humid, it's going to be a different gear. So based on that, you need to plan out what your what your gear is going to look like. So that's the most important thing. The second thing is start ensuring your gear is in order, right? make sure, I mean, hopefully by now you've already picked out your gear. So if it's going to rain, for instance, make sure you're wearing those moisture wicking socks. That's important. Otherwise, you don't want to run the risk of having blisters in your, in your wet feet, right? The third and the most important thing is sleep early. If you have a race at 9 in the morning, you're planning to get up at 5 or 6 in the morning, do not go to bed at 1 or 2 in the morning. Again, as we said, you may not be able to sleep well because of the anxiety or whatever, but at least make an attempt to go and hit your bed early. And last but not the least, continue focus on hydrating well, right? So there's a question here about how long should we wake up. So that question will be answered in the next slide. Either the next slide or the one after that, but we'll talk about that. This is a good checklist of the running gear. I would like you to focus on it afterwards in detail, but few things I want to call out for, right? You will notice there is a cap in the running gear check thing, right? People who wear glasses, if you're running and it's going to be raining, this cap will be your friend. It'll make sure that your glasses don't get, you don't get fog or others, water droplets on your glasses. The other thing I want to call out here is obviously the salt tablets. And in few minutes, we're going to go in more detail around the salt tablet. The third thing I want to call out in this slide is around the body prep, right? So one of the key things, and you can Google it up, right? The things that runners almost always discuss before they're going for the race is the question, hey, have you gone? Have you gone for your, your nature call? Have you done that? So personally, what works for me is I take the same breakfast on the race day that I take every single day. And, we all establish a particular body rhythm around answering that nature call. So make sure you don't do anything new on the race day. Yeah. Go on to the next slide, Bala. Okay. So again, this is the morning of the race day, right? You should get up, and here's the answer to the question that was just answered, right? Get up at least 90 minutes before. But obviously it depends where your race is. If you're running New York City Marathon, you're getting up way early than 90 minutes because 90 minutes is what it may take you just to travel over there. Depends how far the race is, right? But you want to get up enough early that you've had a medium-sized breakfast, right? And then you also have an opportunity to clear your tummy. You have made that restroom call. That's important, right? The other thing I want to call out here is for men especially, you will get everything, almost everything while you're on the course. The things that you will not get while on the course is anti-chafing, right? So make sure you have your glide or anything else that works for you, and the chest guard. Without that, you're going to have, some bleeding from your chest, right? Last but not the least, before you go out, just make a plan for an emergency, in case where you would meet. Some people don't carry phones with them. So that's important for them, right? Can we move on to the next slide, Coach Bala? Last but not the least, nothing new, right? You're not going to be wearing those brand new shoes that you got for the first time on the race day. Personally, I would recommend wear them at least once or twice before you've done the run, right? Do not try any new clothing. Obviously, no new socks, no new watch, no new gel, nothing new. Everything is something that you should have already tried by now in your gears.
Absolutely. Yeah? Thank you, Coach, for that wonderful, clear, structured way of planning for the planning to the start line, right? That's what we have taken us all to the start line of the race day. And I wanted to say a couple of things, especially on this one, because it's an important thing. Some people, there is like momentary lapse of reasoning. Senior runners, sometimes they just fall into this, because it's something really big. When you go for a big interview, typically the human nature is, buy a new suit and, everything new and go for the most important day. There is that thought process. And I've seen this, one very senior runner, Berlin Marathon, one of the most important marathons he's been training for. Suddenly, momentary lapse of logic, I would say, bought a brand new Alpha Fly because he wanted to go for much faster PR. Brought a brand new Alpha Fly Nike, $250, whatever. And boy, mile 18, he literally couldn't even put one step in front of the another. The shoe tore into his foot because it was brand new, it was not running. And I don't know, somehow he still managed to get an okay race. But I think it could have been an easy PR for him. What I'm telling you is, while this seems very common sense, but sometimes it is not common sense. When the nature of the project is very huge, suddenly your brain gives some signals that you've forgotten basic common sense. That's why there's a separate slide given to it. Nothing new, absolutely nothing new. You should be looking old, in terms of not looking old as in with old clothes and everything old shoes, old clothing, socks, you name it, and make sure that just focus on the running part of it. That's really what it is. And coach, thank you for that thought process. And you mentioned about New York City. I know there's a lot of folks who are running New York City in our cohort. I think about 50 or 60 odd runners are running New York City from just within our runner side cohort. I can tell you, for New York City, they close at 6:30, 6:45. The village closes at 6:45. And someone like our speed or my speed, your race starts at 11 o'clock. So a good 3-4 hours in fall, winter, you are standing in the village outside. So you be ready for it. Just enjoy the fun. Those of you who are looking for New York City first timers, be ready for being outside hopefully not too cold, but you have to be there, and then have the nutrition accordingly, not for the race. Nutrition for ensuring that you don't become hungry by the time you start the race. Okay, so those few additional things also required for New York City, which we'll talk as probably in that group. So thank you, Coach Sharik, for that. And let me now invite Coach Ani, who's going to take us through. Now you've crossed the start line. Is there any strategy, or we just run like mad and just go and finish, or how do we go about doing it, Ani?
Yeah, so hello runners. Let's go to the next slide. As Bala said, you're at the start line, and depending on how much distance you have, 5K, 10K, half marathon or full marathon, there is a bit of anxiety, because in training we don't cross that distance ever, right? There is some percentage of distance which we have never ran, at least in that season. And as Bala, you were progressing through the slides, I was trying to draw a parallel that, is there any other event in life where we have the similar anxiety, where you were prepared well, you have done it multiple times, as Sharik mentioned, no matter how many times he has done full marathon, at the start line, the anxiety comes back, right? Or anxiety or excitement, whatever you call it. I'm sure there are fancy word for it. And I was trying to draw a parallel. Is there any other event, at least for me, and I can only give personal anecdote here, that it happens during the exam. You prepare for it, you have sleepless night, and it's a similar crescendo leading to the exam as well. Sweaty hands, increased heartbeat, anxiety, butterflies, and then you adopt the strategy. So what I'm attempting to do is, maybe I draw parallel to that strategy and see how you can, possibly, it will help you on your run. So at least what I used to do is, you scan through the paper, and then pick up the easy questions which you're prepared for, right? This, I got it, man. Let's take an example of half marathon. 13 miles you have to run. So 13 questions in the paper. There are 7 or 8 questions which you're 100% comfortable with, right? So, and generally what we do is, you start with those easy questions, and that is your first segment, I would say, when you're running your distance, right? That we call it warm up. So obviously the terminology changes, but when I say easy, this is the first segment which you have to run slowly, right? There is an excitement. You will if you have not run the races before, you will see at the start line, there are thousands, 50,000, whichever race you are doing, there are people, they're rushing through it. You want to control your excitement, let people go, but you want to make sure that this is my first segment of my full race. And the first segment, very consciously, you want to make sure that you are starting slow, actually we recommend is 10% slower than your target pace, whatever that target pace is, because that there are advantage of doing that. Number one, like in exam, once you solve the easy questions, you build the confidence. And similarly here also, you're going to build the confidence. You get a sense of how your body is reacting on that day. You get used to the weather, you're comfortable. So that the absolutely first segment is warm up, and you want to make sure you start slow. Then let's go to the second segment. Mala? All right, second segment. You warmed up and now you're feeling comfortable that, okay, my first, few miles are over. In the second segment, what you want to make sure is what we call a steady state running, right? In the sense, you keep a watch on what your pace is, and you can actually target your target pace in that segment. But you can also use what we call as banking your run. I hope you have been listening to Bala's weekend messages. I think a few weeks back, Bala talked about what a banking run means. It's essentially, if you are reading for the first time, essentially means that run your first 80% of your mile faster, and then maybe 0.2 mile you can slow down, walk, and prepare for the next mile. So you can bank your runs that way. But the second segment is you try your best to make sure you are in a steady state running. Now the last phase, where you are talking about, you have the questions the territory, or the questions which you're maybe hearing for the first time, or you forgot to read about it. So this we call as a beast mode. This is where you have to scratch your brain and make sure that somehow you get an answer to all these questions, which may be your first time appearing for. And this is where what we want you to do is give all you got. Trust your training. Try to connect the dots like you do in exam, that okay, what potentially the answer could be, and use that similar analogy to on the last segment. Say, trust your training, one foot ahead of other feet, and make sure I do what we call as a visualization technique, which a lot of runners do. Visualize that last mile, where you're going to get the medal, right? The family is waiting for you, your coach is waiting for you, we are going to have a lot of music. Visualize that in your mind, give all you've got, and I can 100% tell you, this is the segment which you're going to, if you're running for the first time, this is the segment you're going to remember for rest of your life, especially crossing that finish line. All right, so let's move on to the next one. Any questions on the chat?
Yeah, it's coming, and we'll keep answering as it.
Awesome. All right. So then, nutrition is very important. Especially if you are in a half marathon and full marathon territory. This slide talks about what is the recommended consumption you should have. When you are doing those long distances. What I personally tell everyone, that try this strategy on your long runs before the race day, right? That means consuming a gel maybe 30 minutes before, on the first mile, on a fourth mile, seventh mile. This is all recommendation, but you have to calibrate that in your long runs. Like for me, I take the breakfast, and the first gel I have is after 5 miles, and that works for me, and I have seen that is working for me. But this is a recommendation. You can read through this offline. But I will, going back to that slide, don't try anything new. If you are used to a pattern of eating something on a periodic basis after certain miles, stick to that pattern. That's absolutely fine.
Exactly. So guys, the one logic here, though, the reason why this is being recommended is that it takes, Coach Sharik also mentioned about this in our State of the Union, interim State of the Union. It takes about 30 minutes for your gel energy to really be ready for your running. Okay, so that's why if you're going to get exhausted at mile 15, let's say, you want to get sufficient energy resources available by mile 15, so that that is being used. That's why if you see for a full marathon, you stop at mile 22, because whatever you're consuming around mile 20, 22 is going to be sufficient for you towards the end of the race. You don't need it after that. So same thing goes for having that gel before starting the race. The idea is like, if before you start the race you have, then you're always under, glycogen excess. That means glycogen, the easily available energy for your body, excess is there, it's not getting depleted. So easier energy path for your running takes place, and hence you don't get into any lactate threshold situations. Okay, let's keep going, buddy.
Yeah, be proactive. Right? Eat before you get hungry, drink before you get thirsty. I mean, that's the philosophy, right? All right. Salt tablet. Again, this is, it's fair to say, especially for full marathon, half marathon, at least I have not used it. I don't know, Bala, you have any, inputs to it, but I think at least for full marathon, taking salt tablet is absolutely important. And if I'll explain you on the next slide, why is that? Let's go to the next slide. All right, so this, I hope this is readable to you, but when we are running, obviously we are sweating a lot, and we're sweating a lot. That means our body is releasing a lot of salt from, it's releasing a lot of salt, right? So there is what you are dealing with when you are on the long run is what you call a salt deficit, right? Your body is going to face a salt deficit, and you want to make sure that you are addressing that periodically on your runs, and addressing that deficit problem. You will hear a lot of runners talking about getting cramps, maybe on their 12th mile, 15th mile, feeling a little bit of imbalance. That's all a symptom of the body has less salt in the body. And on this chart, assuming this is readable to you, the first column I will read through, right? Let's say for a full marathon, your goal time to finish that marathon is 5 hours, right? That means with an average pace of 11:26. So you will be running for 5 hours. That essentially translates to your body is going to release around 2,500 to 3,500 mg of salt in that 5 hours, right? So that's the deficit. That's the goal you have to address. Now, the question could be, can I take none? And because none also has sodium, and will it address it? Yes, it will address it, but not to that level. If you see the non-nutritional information in this, the none has sodium of 119 mg, right? So if you are someone who finished your full marathon in 5 hours and gonna release at least 2,500 of mg of salt, none is not gonna help you. And this is where the salt tablets come handy, because each salt tablet has around, how much is that? There is a number, right? 250 milligram of sodium. So every 3 miles, every 4 miles, you can consume one salt tablet. And at least I have personally seen it, that on 18th and 19th mile, if I keep doing it, the cramp problem at least gets addressed, because one of the main reason of getting cramp is the sodium deficit. So use this chart, especially full marathon. For a full marathoner, I strongly encourage you to go through this offline. These electrolyte tablets are available on Amazon. I don't know whether we have a link anywhere, but you can just search up and on Amazon and you can buy it. But absolutely recommended to take these salt tablets on your long run.
Absolutely. And there is a good comment by Coach Manoj that the LMNT, I don't know, that could be one form of salt tablet, has got 1,000 mg booster as well. But the idea here is, folks, by the way, we'll be sharing this deck with all of you. So you can make a quick, simple math assessment, right? If you are a 6-hour full marathoner, then, the requirement is add another 700 milligrams to this
Yep.
100 to 3,500, and just literally think what are you having during race? What are you having? And if you're just focused on noon or a cliff or a gel, you can see the math there. It's not going to cut it, because you don't have 20, 25 noons. So you got to do the LMNT or a combination of salt tablets. That's basically the idea, so that you can prevent cramping. And trust me, folks, I didn't do this for the first 6 full marathons of mine. Okay, I somehow just missed it, completely missed it, till one senior coach explained this to me, and then I tried it. It was a day and night difference. Having a salt parity when you're running makes a difference, huge difference, especially after mile 20. So awesome, Coach Ani. Let's keep going.
All right. We are in a good season, in the sense, I think most of our runners, the climate is going to be, pretty good, I assume, fingers crossed. But in a hot day scenario, absolutely dumping of water, and enough material has been talked about during the season. But essentially, if there is an excessive heat or there is a heat advisory, or if your body is, you're feeling a lot of it, dumping a water is one of the easiest and best way to cool down your body, right? So try this out. There are a lot of water stations. We are going to have it, as well as if you are running any other races, they will have it. Stop there, dump the water, and then move on.
Absolutely. Keeps your body cool, makes a huge difference in the way your brain operates. Not in a state of stress or a shock, but more in terms of your training regimen. And your body accumulates heat. Don't underestimate that. Normal races start off in the mornings, and when it is cold. But even in a Chicago marathon, I've experienced it, which is supposed to be cold during the starting time. And Chicago marathon, it came to about 75 degrees by the time I was in my mile 20. And this dumping was just amazing. Like, not dumping at mile 20, continuous dumping from mile 3. Even when it was cold, my coach asked me to dump, and when it was cold, I continued to dump. And by the time I came to mile 20, I felt like a cool cucumber. And it was, temperatures were 75, 78 degrees, and I had a PR that race. It made a difference. So thanks for bringing that up, coach.
All right. What do you get at the end of this, right? 13 miles, 26 miles, salt tablets, after all that, you're going to get this, what you're seeing on the screen. It's an amazing certificate. At least I download it, print it with pride that for 16 weeks, I trained, I was consistent, I did my hard work, and I finished that cross line. I finished what I set out for 16 weeks back. So it's like a moment of pride. And it's I will call it as a token or souvenir at the end of season you're gonna get, and you will get a printout or a PDF form after the race, which you can print out, and I highly encourage everyone to keep it as a personal artifact.
Absolutely. And folks, got to add, available for masters and pro marathon segment only, because we validate timing, because this is sort of an RRCA coach certified certificate that you can use you can use our RRCA certified coach as attestation for this, for your, let's say, for youngsters applying for college and such. This is your proof for your timing. So we want to make sure that the coaches are very, should I say, almost anal in making sure that the timing is right. Do that for our pro runners and masters, because we are their coach. So this service is available only for pro runners. But that said, the goodness of our heart, some light runners, if you're interested, then you have to show proof to one of our coaches, and we will provide you the certificate after we get satisfied. Back to you, coach.
Yeah, thanks for highlighting that. And then know your race distances. It sounds funny, right? That, hey, you train for a distance for 16 weeks, and then you see a slide on a race strategy demo about race distances. But there is a reason why it is here, because we have seen in the past, that people, for example, 10K is 6.23 miles. We have seen runners complete 6 miles, go home, text their coach that, hey, I completed 10K today. Can I have my certificate? We cannot give that certificate because 10K is 6.23 and half marathon is 13.1 and full marathon is 26.2. And think about it, right? As a coach, it feels so sad to tell someone who has completed 6 miles or 13 miles that is, sorry, buddy, I cannot give you a certificate. It's not a valid race because you did not finish your distance. It's just really sad moment for all the coaches. So we want to make sure that your distances, whichever distance you are running, make sure you complete those. If you are with us on next Sunday, obviously crossing a finish line means that you finished it, but make sure you also double check your watch and ensure that your watch shows the race distance completed as well.
I can't resist Coach Bala. I have to intervene here. Coach Bala has denied certificate to Disha, his daughter, on the race day, on her birthday, for a half marathon, because she completed 13 miles instead of 13.1 miles. So if he can deny to his daughter, you should know that how strict we are on this. So
I
I
know
always give hard time to Bala for that, but
he still gives me the hard time, but right, as you're right, Mo. But as Coach Ani rightly mentioned, uh, it's also about attention to detail, right? You've been training for so long. If you don't know what you're training for, what are you doing here? You're not running in the park. And by the way, this is only for virtual distances, like the New Jersey race that we conduct, or people who run on their own. There are a lot of folks who run on their own. Of course, if you run a recognized race, any race that you have signed up for, that is fine because they will give certification, and that is enough for us. This is only for those who are running virtual or running the New Jersey race of RHWB, and then you need to show in your garment that you have completed this distance. That is when we are able to give your certificates. Thank you, Ani. Yeah, back to you.
Yeah, and I'm sure your coach has communicated this by now in on a final search message. But I think pausing a watch is absolutely not recommended, right? I mean, during the race, especially, we are going to calculate the distance when you cross that start line and then cross the finish line. It doesn't matter how many times you pause the watch in between, right? And in final surge, and in any other events you go to, that's how they calculate your finish time for your race. So pausing a watch technically does not give you anything, right? So we strongly recommend don't pause your watch during the race. The start line, even if you're walking, taking a break to sip a water or Gatorade, that's absolutely fine. But keep your watch on until you cross that finish line.
Yep. And I got like two good questions on this side. Best post-race recovery food for quick recovery. I would, like any other long runs also, we suggest good protein shake if you're able to get. That aids your muscle recovery. And of course, rest is important. Good tender loving care, some massages if you are able to make it happen, nothing like it. Have good food, enjoy, rest up, put your foot up. That's what I do. And I always take my massage gun as well. And what I do, at least I don't do it, I've seen some people do it, especially those of you who travel out to go for a full marathon or a half marathon for that matter. Don't have your hotel checkout that day. I mean, pay for one extra day. It's okay. You don't have to check out at 12 o'clock in the afternoon or 11 o'clock that you don't even have a place to come back to after a race. You know what I mean? Some logistical errors here. I would suggest even if you're checking out that night, you at least have a place to come back and relax for some time. You deserve that. You've done a full marathon at the end of the day. You've traveled to, say, Tokyo, Berlin, all those places. So have that one extra day in the hotel and plan it in such a way that give yourself some love. You need it. Your body has taken a beating. Whether you like it or not, whether you've trained or not, your body has taken a beating. Okay? So you should give some rest. And then your body will give you, all the benefits. You will recover quickly. You'll have that smoothie if you can. I've done that. And it's like so beautiful. You feel great. After finishing, let's say, any race, definitely a full marathon, you feel like top of the world. You feel your body your mind is soaring and you feel that you've achieved something phenomenal, which you have. So thank you, Coach Ani, for that brilliant thought through in terms of how do we think about the race day. Somebody asked whether we can take painkillers in advance. I don't know what other coaches feel, but I would suggest let's not take anything, any medication and such proactively. Anyway, you're going to can't avoid pain. So why don't you enjoy the pain and then later on sort of take the painkiller? You can always have time to take painkillers. I'm again revisiting this for race day. I hope those of you who have not yet signed up for this weekend, we are closing it. There is a lot of logistics involved for making the race happen. Okay, so please go ahead. If you haven't done so, you're waiting for the last moment. I know that there is always that pleasure in doing everything last moment. We also do the same. How about consider this as the last moment and just go and click that blue color link out there right now and just sign up. Okay, please sign up for lunch as well. Many of you, for some reason, they don't sign up for lunch. And then they come there and just get the smell of that amazing lunch that Coach Ani caters for. And then they say, can I join in right now? Where can we get lunch if you haven't signed up for it? So why don't you sign up for it? No other race in the world gives you awesome lunch right after the race at the spot of finishing the race. That's what we do. Why do we do that? Because we love you, period. That's why we do it. We can easily give you bagels and bananas and then send you home. No, we don't want to do that. That's again a tradition. So sign up for it, guys. Be part of the excitement of the race day. Those of you who are considering coming here, please ask your coaches. If there are many friends in New Jersey, I'm sure if you, with your network, they can open their houses if they are available. There are multiple small hotels available. So you can always do that. And then come for the race day. It's a small celebration. Even if you have done doing races outside, it's okay. You can still come and do your long runs. All the coaches are going to be there. We are going to have Edison, Mayor of Edison, going to be there for the chief guest. We have got our own chief guest. So many things are there. And you will never see a race where literally as you're running, everybody is your family. When I say family, runners say family. Literally everyone. Whichever direction you look at, it's our people cheering. It's for RHWB by RHWB. Okay. So can't wait to see all of you there. Wear your t-shirts with pride. I can't see the green revolution that day. And then let's make bring home another phenomenal season X. And now I'll be sharing it shortly. Your bibs are ready. Okay, your bibs are ready. You can just click on this link. Huge thanks to Sapna and Akansh on our tech team to make this happen. Hot off the press today. I gave them this request just a couple of hours ago and they made it happen. You can go click on this link, choose your folder based on your first name, and you will have your bib already ready. You can just take a print out and race day. Your bib is ready. You can wear it with pride during race day. T-shirts are in. I'm wearing that T-shirt. As I said, it's one of those beautiful T-shirts. And, you can have those of you who ordered, please come and pick it up from Mona, or Mona has already shipped most of the T-shirts to out-of-station folks. She's ordered few extra. I think it's already gone, but if not, please ping her. Those of you who have forgotten to order, maybe you can still get your hands on that T-shirt. Of course, medals are there. So we are all getting ready to finish the season off. And this is the link where you can just click on it. Again, putting it here so that you can sort of sign up for it. Next season, can you believe it? We are already beginning to think about next season, season 11. Oh my goodness. Season 11 starts around December 3rd week, warm up for an April middle, should I say, race day. So that's season 11. So those of you who are interested, not those of you here, you guys are all good. I'm talking about your friends and family who would like to be intimated of the opening of the season 11 admissions. Please ask them to get to this link, which is in our Runners High website, signing up for next season, and ask them to put their name so that when we are ready, when we open up, which is around probably end of this month, they will be intimated that the season 11 admission time is open and you all can, and they all can sign up. Okay, so that's season 11. I cannot believe we are already beginning to think about season 11. And as I always end it, you guys are forged in the crucible of adversity. You guys are those amazing human beings of Runners High. That's who we are. And we will continue to be amazing, do amazing things, and just spread the gospel of happiness and gospel of giving more than we can take. Thank you, guys. I hope you all enjoyed this race day meeting. Thank you, my fellow presenters, my fellow coaches who are all here. I will share this deck to all of you with the links. All the very best for your training season, for your race day. You have done all the hard work. Don't be harsh on yourself. Please don't be harsh on yourself. I've seen 1 million people who have been harsh on themselves after completing a half marathon or a full marathon. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about, guys? Just 16 weeks ago, you couldn't do just half a mile. And today you feel disappointed that you missed your target run by 2.3 minutes. Because whatever, you had this mind that I want to complete in 2 hours, 30 minutes, and you finished in 2 hours, 32 minutes. As a result, your life has come to a standstill. You feel disappointed. Are you kidding me? Okay, keep that in mind. You have already succeeded. You guys are rock stars. If that is one message I want you all to take away from, that's what it is. You guys have done it. You are here. Just go and enjoy the race. Things will happen. And with that, Thank you, and miles of excitement to follow. Take care, folks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
See you guys. Thank you, Sapna. Thanks for all your help today. All of you can leave. Coaches can stay. I will stop recording as well.